So we want to take this this side here and open that up a little bit more so that it screws down onto that shaft a little bit better. Now one thing we have to do is figure out where our center is. Well, that's pretty damn close right off the bat. That's pretty nice. Let's get it squared up a little bit better. God, that is perfect. That doesn't happen that often. Okay, that's going to fit just about right. Tighten everything down. All right. Take one or two more cuts, then we'll take it over there and try it out. Let's take one more. Another 10. All right. Now one thing I want to do, since it was such a nice, easy setup, is just in case we have to come back, we'll know that that is number 1, and we can come back pretty much to the same position and not have to fight it to get it to square up. Okay, we got her snug. We'll spin it back on. What are we hitting? Oh, we're hitting this back bolt back here. All right, and that isn't even down yet. Okay, so I'm thinking what we're going to have to do is drill 4 more holes and thread them. We go find out what our thread size is here. And we can get the thread gauge. And probably somewhere in here. Not quite. Nope. Well, 30 threads per inch is as small as I go here, and it still wants to go smaller, or more threads per inch. I'm thinking 32, but I'm guessing that this might be metric. So it turns out that our thread is a 1032, and let's see if we can come in real close and match up the threads. Can you see that? Maybe. But anyhow, we matched up the threads with the actual tap itself. The tap is a 1032. The drill bit is a number 21. So we'll take it over to the drill press and we're going to drill those 4 holes. And we'll go right to center. And we're looking at 250 thousandths. Yep. So we'll scratch at 250, and then I believe it's every half inch, right? 500, yes, every half inch. So that'd be 750. And then another half inch would be 1 1/4. And then another half inch would be, okay, we've run a tap in 3 of the holes. Now we're into the 4th. And we're just kind of taking that down through the aluminum. There we go. And with aluminum, I always like to kind of blow off the garbage on the bottom, because as you pull it back through, you can mess up your threads. Okay, so we've pulled the plastic or the Delron out of the holder. We've slid this in, and this needs to sit just about right there. I've cut a small piece of material just to get us into play here. And we'll just put it like about there. We could actually just bring it down below. I'm going to hold this in place. And then basically, I'm just going to weld it, hoping everything just stays where it's supposed to stay. Okay, just tack it. That's what I'm going to do. And that looks pretty good. By the time we raise this halfway up, we're just about where we want it to be. Actually, it's like a little bit higher, but that still looks pretty good. And also we can adjust this a little bit. I don't know if you can see the other one. Let's drag it over to the other one. I did the same thing over here, and what I did is I just did a little bit of a bend right there in order to get this thing to adjust out where I needed it. So, and then we're going to have to adjust these here and there just to get them to fit just right. We may end up having to saw a little bit of this off. Oh, that's right, it's going to come up to here, so that should be just about right. So I'm going to weld the rest of this in place, get that in good and solid, and then we'll put the Delron back in, and then set it up so that it has a nice smooth slide. Should do the trick. I think we're pretty tightly welded there. Take it over to some water and cool it. Okay, Nick Collier here, and we've got this thing up and running, and I'll see if I can get it to kick in here. The only problem is that it's a windshield wiper motor, so it has a tendency to only go around one time. And even then, it's a difficult process. I don't know, I'm probably just going to take the damn thing apart. You know, I was going to leave it for him to take apart, but I really want to test this thing out before I give it to him. So I think what I'm going to do is just take the motor mechanism apart and figure out the electronics and go directly to the motor and bring a couple wires off the motor and run it. We opened up this whole mess, and we came up with a whole pile of electronics, which we absolutely do not need. So I just, this part came out too. And so I just put it in the hacksaw and cut that part off. Put this back in just to plug up the hole. And we did a little experimenting with the points here, with the, and it looks like I can just take one of these little terminal ends, slide it into the groove there, put some wires on the end of it, and we've got grounded on the body. We've got a high speed and a low speed, which is not a bad deal. And then just slide that goes back on. We've got a high speed and a low speed. We bring a couple of wires out from there, bring a ground wire out, and he can hook up to that, and we've got a running mechanism. So we're going to go ahead and find some wire and plug that in and go from there. Okay, so we've got it apart, and I had to torch out just a little bit of this hole here in order to be able to pull that motor out, which was quite interesting. But now it comes out and it goes back in, and that's all that counts. And we want to put our motor in place. All right, we got a nice tight connection here. So at this point, we put our wheel back in, bring it down till it's tight. Oh yeah, misses like a dream. Okay, and then our rod or our slider back in place. Okay, we'll just bring this back till it connects up. Little 5/16 wrench. Now once we get it all locked in place and everything's working just fine and everything's perfect, I'm going to come back in and do a put Loctite in all of these just to make sure they stay where they're supposed to stay. Okay. As far as I can tell, we're all back in place and functioning properly. Basically going to strip back this wire. I'm going to leave it real long for him because I know he wants to run it down to the battery or whatever he wants to do. Just get a couple of wires on this. And we've got a ground hooked up. And we want to put a hot lead in. It looks like it's working just fine to me. That's the fast speed, I think. No, that was the slow speed. There's the fast speed. Well, Nick Collier here, and we got the thing up and running. There's a couple of glitches, and we've got to kind of figure those out today because I have to deliver it by this afternoon. I'm guessing we got another hour or two in this. So at this point, between the travel of the bar, it's 22 inches, and we need it to be down to 18 inches. So Francisco came over yesterday, and we kind of played around with it and tried to figure out how to reduce the size without without having to revamp the whole thing. Let's disconnect here. And I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer. So one of the things we're going to do, instead of having the wheel, is, let me see if I can get a pen, is we're going to cut the spokes out of the wheel. Except for this one spoke here. So this is going to be gone, this is going to be gone, this is going to be gone, and so on, going around the reel. So all there's going to be is this central shaft, or the central shaft, yes, and this one little arm coming out with 3 holes in it, which gives him the ability to have more travel or less travel. So I think that's where we're going to start. And then let's back up a little bit, and so you can see the sliders are gonna, once we cut that down, we're gonna have a lot more room to work with. So then I'm gonna be able to bring the slider in probably to about here. All I need to do is clear this clevis right here. And so we'll bring the slider in, and then we're gonna cut the sliders down. So basically this part of the slider is gonna be gone. It's gonna be just this little 1-inch piece here, which means that we'd be able to trim the shaft down more and more. Same with the other slider over here. Let's spin around over to that. That's kind of sitting way out here in the open air. We're going to bring that into about right here, just this side of the pin, and then also at the same time cut the out, you know, just leave ourselves about 1.5 inches of slider. So I think it's time to get started. Okay, I hate to do it, but here we go. We're going to cut off the disc, and not too big of a deal. I don't know, can you hear that bird? He's building a nest in here, and he comes in every morning, and as soon as I start up the machinery, he starts singing. And if I turn on that lathe, he just goes crazy. He'll come into the lathe and sit on a wire just above the lathe and just sing at the top of his voice for a long time while I'm running the lathe. As soon as I turn machinery off, he stops singing. And the interesting thing about this little bird is he's about the size of my thumb. Just the little dinkiest thing. But he's got a voice like you can't believe. There he is. Let's see, can I swing you around to see it so you can see him? You can see the bird nest. Well, no, you can't really see him. If you look right there, he's sitting on the edge of that saw blade. Oh, he just took off. Oh, there he is outside. Maybe we can get a shot of him here, because they're pretty amazing little bird. There he is. Okay. Nick Collier here. We've got our little machine working. we've trimmed it down to, I think we got 14 inches here between centers, which is what he originally wanted. Okay, 15 inches between centers, which is so much better than 24, which is what we had yesterday. So we got her all trimmed down. It's all set to go. All I have to do is give them a call and have them come pick it up.